Voila.
Hello.
What's up?
New studio. Welcome in. Episode 20, boys. Episode 20, $1 Million Radio.
Wow.
I know. I didn't know if we'd still be doing it after 2, much less 20. So,
Hey, we here.
yeah. Yeah, it's been a minute since we've done this. Jacob and Griffin are here. Been even longer since we've had all three on the pod, but
I've been carrying the weight of this channel, dude.
yeah, but a lot's happened since the last episode we did, including Ohio State's winning the national championship in the college football playoffs. Any thoughts about that? Like, I guess once we saw how they played against Tennessee, that they were probably a favorite to at least make it, and they treated pretty much everybody like Tennessee. So
I have some thoughts.
What are your thoughts?
So I'm going to start off. I'm going to congratulate Ohio State. They turned it on at the right time. They ended up, having that roster that they paid for. It worked out for them winning it. So congrats. But on the flip side, you still can't beat Michigan.
Yeah, I think that's most of the way Ohio State fans feel, for the most part. After they beat Michigan, people would ask them, what if y'all go win a natty? And everybody said there'd still be an asterisk on the season. About
After they lost to Michigan, right?
Yeah. So do they feel that same way now? Probably, but I guess they're just going to eat it up for now. But you got to play them again next year. So
Is
what
Will
if it's
Howard
5 in a row?
an NFL talent?
Not at all.
I think he'll definitely make a team, stuff like that. We'll see. I mean, with any quarterback that goes into the NFL, we've seen it, they can win natties in college, Trevor Lawrence, but if you go to a type of situation that either doesn't fit you or they don't do enough to help you with the players around you to build the team around you, like a good offensive line, for instance.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to be successful. Yeah. It's going to be hard for anybody.
Johnny Manziel, he was electric in college, but could never find ground in the NFL.
Because he got drafted to the Browns.
Yeah. that's a part of it.
Just like Justin Fields and, Caleb Williams now with the Bears. He was electrifying in college. And it's just a different type of ball game in the NFL.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
That's no knock on Caleb Williams. Like he can do great. Ben Johnson.
Not every rookie's going to have a Jaden Daniels type rookie season.
I mean, honestly, we hadn't seen it in forever until C.J. Stroud, and now I guess it's just the norm. Like there's going to be one guy that gets drafted that ends up popping off. Bo Nix had a pretty good year as well as a rookie, but.
Now, is it gonna be an every year thing or like an every 5 years thing?
Well, we've seen it 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
C.J. Stroud last year.
I would more bank on, if I was betting, I would say every few years. I wouldn't say every single year.
No, me too.
A breakout rookie.
But yeah, it's a good year for Jaden Daniels.
Great year.
Yeah, great year. I don't know why I say good. It was a great year for Jaden Daniels. Really, Washington didn't seem like throughout the season that they just had a great team, and here they are.
Well, they were pretty veteran heavy.
Yeah, but still, like the games that they won, they kind of squeaked by some teams, and they beat some others as well. And then, I think they lost against the Falcons towards the end of the year, and ended up barely beating the Cowboys in Week 18, last game of the season. But it secured them that 6th seed spot, and that was a big thing it ended up being in the NFC playoffs, because that moved the Packers down to number 7, and we had to go to the Eagles first round. And, they went to Tampa Bay and then ended up with a big win against the Detroit Lions. But
I honestly couldn't have been more wrong, man. I thought that Detroit was going to take the belt to the ass of the Eagles. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, was that? No, of
the Commanders.
Washington,
yeah. I really thought the Detroit was going to make it to the Super Bowl. I wish they did.
Yeah.
It's time for Hendo to come out and be the starter.
Well, he had his opportunity, or they didn't give him the opportunity because they went out and signed Teddy Bridgewater. And Bridgewater was the one that came in when Goff was hurt in that game. So what does that mean about Hendon Hooker? Are they going to use him as kind of trade value? I mean, what trade value is there?
Dan Campbell, last I heard, said that they really enjoy Hendon's presence in that QB room. So I'm hoping they keep him.
Great guy.
But at some point, you just got to give the kid a chance.
Either that or, maybe they do end up trading him and giving him a chance somewhere else. But to a team that maybe he can earn a spot, they're going to be sticking with Jared Goff for, at least 2 or 3 more seasons, I'd say. I don't know.
Well, it seems like they'll be sticking to,
mediocrity.
One and done.
Yeah.
Yeah, one and done.
Because, I've heard from, the internet sources that Jared Goff's just in this same loophole no matter where he goes. Like in LA, he'll do what he needs to do before those big moments, but when he's in those big moments, he just folds and cracks and has the team carry him.
I don't think you're going to win a Super Bowl because of Jared Goff. I think you can win with him, but you're not going to win because of him. But you certainly can lose because of him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the Lions had, the best season of anybody in the NFC, obviously, earning that number 1 seed. But they did have to deal with a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
I will say the Packers had more injuries on their Super Bowl team. It was a while ago, but the 2010 season. They had more injuries than the Lions did. No excuse. The Lions aren't looking to make that an excuse either, but it does play a big factor though. And
it caught up to him for sure. But you would think that first round bye would have had a little bit of time for anyone with minor injuries to come back, but it's easier said than done, and an idea rather than reality.
Yeah.
And honestly, and their defense just couldn't stop Jaden Daniels and the Commanders' offense. I mean, it seemed like whenever they needed a stop, they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
They just could not buckle down and get a stop.
Props to the Commanders on their season. Came to an end yesterday in Philadelphia by a dominant performance from the Eagles, offensively and even defensively.
What was it, 7 rushing touchdowns?
Yes.
It was a lot.
7. It was 7 rushing touchdowns. It was 55-23, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was a beatdown. The most points that I think have ever been scored in a conference championship game in the NFL. Most either tied or maybe it is the most.
Like most points combined?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think what killed the Commanders, I watched the whole game. What killed the Commanders was the turnovers. They fumbled the ball twice at least. Yeah. And it was they fumbled it in their own territory, and it just set the Eagles up way too easy. If the opposing team has Saquon Barkley, the last thing you want to do is fumble it in your own territory. We saw on the first play he came out and he rushed for a 60-yard touchdown. No one could tackle the dude. So, just imagine that. But, you're 30 yards out from the end zone, 20 yards out. And it was just a bunch of circumstances against them and their own faults and turnovers. Whenever they did get turnover and they scored, they went to halftime. The Eagles came out with the ball. And, it was a 3-and-out, and Washington got it, and then that was a 3-and-out. They got it back, and they scored. So, plenty of opportunities, just couldn't capitalize.
And so I think Jalen Hurts might have quieted some doubters, at least. 20 of 28 through the air, 246 yards, and a passing touchdown. And also had 10 carries, 16 yards. I think that was pretty much 10 tush pushes. Yeah. He did score 3 touchdowns on the ground.
As 10 tush pushes on one sequence.
Now, how do y'all feel about that whole sequence of events that on the goal line where they called 3 straight offsides?
Oh, yeah. What was the name of that? I forgot what the ruling was, but they were about to just basically
award a score.
Yeah, give the Eagles a touchdown because the defense kept doing the false start just to.
But it wasn't on purpose. Is the thing. They weren't encroaching. They weren't being offsides on purpose. They were trying to stop the ball from being scored.
Yeah,
you can't say you're purposely doing it so that you disrupt the flow of the game. So that you get what I'm saying. Like you're being a menace about it. You're literally trying to stop them from doing the tush push. That's what you're trying to do. And I think it would have been kind of unfair to award at that point. But I get it. But how much further can you push the ball up when there's a penalty?
So Hurts had 3 touchdowns on the ground, as did Saquon Barkley. Only 15 carries in the whole game, but 118 yards, 3 touchdowns as well. And how big was that first time he touched the ball? The run
60 yards.
Yeah, he was gone. He took the handoff and he was gone.
It was a pitch back, and he got it in some open space, and literally like at least three defenders touched him, couldn't grip him.
Oh, they just can't grip a guy like that. But yeah, so the Eagles looked very, very good, both on offense and defense yesterday. Only 3 losses on the season. 55-23 was that final. And then in the afternoon game, boys, I think this is what we've all been waiting to talk about.
Yeah.
Or maybe not talk about.
Before we move on, could I ask a quick question? I'm not sure if y'all know this, but if you know how the Commanders kept doing the offsides versus the Eagles, and they kept inching the ball closer to the goal line, half the distance to the goal and all that stuff. At some point, could the center just grab it and I think
break
the plane. Break the plane, because if it breaks the plane, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, the center has to snap the ball to somebody else, whether that's a running back, quarterback, somebody in motion,
or fumble it, right?
Yeah, but it has to at least attempt. I guess it has to attempt other hands of somebody else. But yeah, I don't know the exact rule on that, but I know there is a rule.
That's like hypothetical. That's in the same vein of like in college football, whenever it gets the long snapper, they snap it to the field goal holder, the placeholder for the kicker, and his knee's already down.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same vein of that. But on to the Chiefs and Bills.
Yeah, so the Chiefs, once again, they've made it to 7 straight AFC championships and championship games, and now have won 3 in a row to go to the Super Bowl. And they've won the last 2 Super Bowls. So chance for a three-peat. First time maybe any team has ever done it. They have a chance to do that. 18 of 26, 245 yards in the air for Patrick Mahomes, 1 touchdown. And Mahomes got it done on the ground as well yesterday with 2 touchdowns, 11 carries, 43 yards. And it was a battle though. 32-29, 3-point win. Bills
had a blowout. It's never a blowout.
Bills had a chance there at the end. Couldn't convert on a 4th and 5 with an incomplete pass. Josh Allen, 22 of 34, 237 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. And James Cook with another 2 touchdowns on the ground for the Buffalo Bills.
He was throwing some darts, dude.
I just want to see Josh Allen beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs one time. Yeah. Just one time.
He will. He will.
He's not this year. What is it now? 0-4?
At least, I think 0-4. He will. But the thing is, his time's going to come. I mean, it obviously wasn't this year. Yes, it will.
Or maybe Patrick Mahomes' time will just never run out. Maybe that's just what we're seeing.
Well, hopefully when they sold their souls to the devil, they only said for 1 season and not for the rest of their careers.
Well, they've been doing it for a couple seasons now. And I mean, even
this season, they sold their souls. This is how they've been winning these weird games. Before, the Chiefs were like a air raid, Patrick's going to throw for 300 yards, but not anymore. He had 1 touchdown. How many yards did he have throwing?
Yeah, 230. Oh, that's Josh Allen. 245 in the air for Patty.
Yeah. We're
getting a rematch. It'll be Eagles v. Chiefs 2 here in the Super Bowl this year. We saw it a couple years ago, 38-35 win for Kansas City. Everybody thinks back to that last drive for Kansas City where they got the defensive holding and allowed Kansas City to get those last few points, and a phantom defensive holding call. So maybe the Eagles have a chance to rectify that. The line opened up last night -1.5 for the Chiefs, and immediately 90% of the money, at least on FanDuel, was on Kansas City. And then I woke up this morning, it's more like 60%. I can check it now. Now that we're Monday evening. But yeah, so who do y'all got? Like, I guess Chiefs They're just going to find a way to win.
They'll probably win, but I guess I'm rooting for the Eagles.
I got the boys in the black and white stripes winning for being the MVP for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
We saw there were some bad calls.
I wouldn't say bad. They were quite horrible.
That's even better, Griffin. You had a blatant Josh and the Buffalo Bills got the 4th down conversion. They didn't get called. Even on that last play when Josh threw it up for was it for Kincaid? Was
that it was Kincaid.
Didn't they throw a flag for that and then picked it up once they realized it was incomplete?
Yeah. So now we see 60% of the money, 55% of the bets on Kansas City. So some big money came in last night on Kansas City early and then Philly throughout the night. So
who do you got winning, Scholar?
I don't know. I really don't.
This is what a distraught group of people who don't want to see either team.
This is how America feels right now.
Yes.
So I think the Eagles may be a better team than Kansas City.
You could say that about almost every single opponent Kansas City's played this season.
Yeah. Kansas City's on that, top tier of teams, obviously. But who else is up there? The Lions, the Eagles, the Bills, who they just beat yesterday, the Ravens. Those are that top caliber of teams. And Kansas City is, maybe 2 or 3 on that list, in my opinion. And they just find ways to win every game. I did see a crazy stat yesterday. I think Trey Wingo said it on a show or a podcast or something. But it was like, in a certain is a crazy LeBron-esque stat, but in playoff games, when a team needs a field goal or a touchdown to tie the game or win the game, it's only happened 40% of the times in playoffs where teams have actually come back and either forced overtime or won the game. And it's like within a minute to go or 2 minutes to go in the game, and only one quarterback in that whole list of the 40% of people who've done it is perfect. And it was Patrick Mahomes, 7 of 7. And maybe last night made him 8 for 8 in playoff games in that scenario. So
I was thinking when Kansas City scored to go up, I think by 3 points or so in the last 5 minutes. I mean, that gave Josh Allen enough time to go down and do something. But
yeah,
I was telling Mackenzie, I was like, you don't want to give the Chiefs 2 minutes. I mean, you really don't.
Hey, you don't want to give them 5 seconds at this point.
13 seconds is how it happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
13 seconds. Patrick Mahomes went 5 for 5, set him up in field goal range against the Bills at home. I think it was in the divisional round that year. And they ended up kicking a 50-something yard field goal, forcing overtime. And then the rest was history.
And that's just not Patrick Mahomes. That's the kicker making it with no fault. That's everything on the team going right.
The Chiefs are a great team, and I would definitely take their kicker over the Eagles right now. Jake Elliott is struggling out there, missing extra points, missing field goals, missed a few in the Green Bay game. Luckily, it didn't for them. Luckily, it wasn't what decided the game, but Kansas City, they can trot old Harrison Butker out there, and he'll kick it right through the goalpost every time. So right now, the line is at -1.5 for the Kansas City Chiefs, -124 favorites, +106 on the money line for the Eagles, over under 49.5.
Just give me your prediction, man. What do you think's going to happen?
History is going to rewrite itself.
Like I said,
watch it be, honestly, screw it. 38-35, Kansas City. They're probably going to win it. Same as last time. Just go ahead, put your money on Kansas City.
Yeah.
Book your flight to Cancun.
I almost made put a pretty large bet on Kansas City last night when the line first opened, and I'm glad I didn't. Will this line move at all? We got 2 weeks, boys. Will the line move? Maybe Kansas City -2.5.
See, I feel like it'll move to 3.5, and then, they'll kick a field goal to win the game.
I'll be very surprised if the line doesn't move at all by the time kickoff comes.
Well, who's winning MVP then?
I didn't get my pick yet. I think
regular season MVP.
Regular season MVP
should be my boy Joe, but
I was surprised he made it as a finalist.
Yeah,
you can't miss the playoffs though.
I know.
Come on.
It's our defense's fault.
It's a team effort. I totally get it, but it's just you cannot miss the playoffs and be a regular season MVP. To me, it just doesn't sit right.
I think the top three are pretty much everybody's same top three in any order. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley. Out of those three, who do y'all think's had the better season? Maybe not who will win the award, but who had a better season?
Ravens had a really tough schedule.
Yeah, they did. Really they were put through the ringer a lot.
I was going to say, y'all might think I'm a little crazy, but I think Saquon may have had the best season. I mean,
individually, yeah.
And he like is it the 13th guy to run for 2,000 yards? Or am I wrong on that number?
I don't know the exact number, but he was within, what was it, like 100 yards?
Of Eric Dickerson's record?
Yeah, of the all-time record. In 17 games instead of 16, but, still something that every running back strives for. Something Eric Dickerson's had since, the 90s, early 2000s?
I believe that was in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really,
I personally
time.
think Lamar should get it, but, I mean...
See, I think Lamar probably, as far as stats go, has the best stats of all three, with the amount of rushing along with the passing, and he threw very little interceptions all year. So did Josh Allen, though. I think they're very neck and neck in the whole thing. With Lamar winning one last year, do you think they just give it to Josh or Saquon?
So it's
this
like a Joel Embiid pity MVP type situation?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, the same thing's happening with Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Voter fatigue is real.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we see, I know it's just a regular season award, but you see the Ravens go out in the first round again. It's
well, it was the second round.
Second round, sorry.
Yeah, but that ain't Lamar's fault, dude. I mean, he threw that right to...
Yeah, I know.
You don't know what happens, but still, I mean, they had a clear point shot to tie it up. Who knows? Maybe Josh Allen and the Bills go down minute and a half, kick a field goal, but regardless.
It's all situational, but I will say Josh Allen.
Okay, so we each have the person.
Yeah. So
Griffin's
one of us is going to be right. One of us is going to be right.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I think Lamar should get it. I bet it'll go to Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. But, so, I mean, we got one game left in the football season, boys. We started this the week before the first college football games. I guess not week zero, but before week one. And now we're here. We saw who won the Natty. Ohio State made it all the way and ran through everybody. So
let's talk about that 12-team playoff.
Back to those playoffs. What are y'all's takeaways as far as how everything ended up with the buys? Who got a buy? The group of five Power 5 conference winners all get a bid. Like, how do y'all think maybe something should change? Maybe you like it.
I think definitely the seedings should change of how the one seed. I don't know why Oregon had to play Ohio State or Tennessee. It just did not make sense to me. They were undefeated the whole season, then they had to play not the bottom seed. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. You should be rewarded if you're the number one seed, in my opinion. That's how they do it in the NBA. That's literally how they do it in every single other sport. So I definitely think that should change. I think the top four seeds should not be the conference champions. It should just be the top four seeds. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and I think you continue on with home games throughout the second round. Just my opinion.
See. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Okay.
Yeah, well, honestly, have home games up until the national championship.
Yeah,
I could see that.
I would say maybe,
I think at least.
Yeah. At least bowl games and maybe the semifinals, but
I kind of want them to rework the bowl schedule, make the bowls matter again.
How do you do that though?
And the Army Navy game too.
Yeah,
maybe
because everybody, their goal at the beginning of the season is to maybe win their conference and win a national championship. So if you don't make the playoffs, then how would they make these other bowl games matter?
I guess I'd say money incentive, how they're working these playoff games.
Yeah.
You could do like an NBA Cup type deal. Every player gets a certain amount of money. That is a lot of players, but you get what I'm saying. Like NBA, they get $500,000 each.
Yeah.
But I don't know that everyone's getting NIL. I don't think that may be a viable solution.
Yeah.
Well, that and there's a revenue split coming up if the NCAA doesn't change power at the top, apparently.
What do you mean by that?
Like, say the University of Tennessee makes $26 million in a quarter off of athletics. They'd have to split that evenly between all of the men's and women's athletic programs.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. No, that'd be cool.
I think they're definitely looking at putting a cap in. You know, some schools can spend $40 million. You know, some schools can spend only like $5 million. You know, I think they're going to put a cap on the budget. I think that's what's coming up next as well. But regardless of that, when it comes to the playoffs, I just think that those things need to be redone.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would want to redo?
Like, I agree pretty much 100% with you. I think, honestly, like, as far as the 12 teams that made the playoffs go, you know, just getting into the playoffs, I think they did a pretty good job with the 12 teams that made it. It seemed pretty, you know, straightforward down the line with how they decided to do that. But I agree with Jacob in the sense that we should have these first 4 teams that get the bye. Whenever you seed 1 through 12, whoever the top 4 teams are that you think are the 4 best teams, they get the bye. And maybe not as much as like going into the second round reseeding everybody, but I think you keep the same seeds and then do it like the NFL does it, where number 1 will play the lowest seed in that second round.
Number 2, lowest seed remaining, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. And then the number 2 team will play, you know, that second lowest or whatever that remains. I think it should be more like that. And I do like the idea of the home field advantage through the second round.
Yeah. How are you going to, I mean, you're kind of equalizing it. You're giving the people in the first round who didn't earn a bye, you're giving them the home field advantage. But then as soon as they win and they're on a roll, you know, everything like that, they go to the second round and they play a neutral site at the person who just had a week off. I think if anything, you should get more rewarded for being a top 4 seed. You should have both the bye and a home field advantage.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That just makes it just makes the universities more money, and then that's more money to dish out.
Yeah.
That and make Notre Dame join a damn conference.
I agree.
Because I saw a stat how they're just how each team's gotten a certain amount of $1 million.
$20 million.
And they just pocketed all of it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like that's fair to, you know, every other conference that was represented.
I agree, but as long as they have a pretty, as difficult of a schedule as another, you know, Power 5, you know, school or whatnot, I'm cool with it. But I do agree in a certain sense. Now, the things that they did do good this year with the playoffs, I thought we got a lot of matchups that were really cool that we wouldn't usually see, of course. You know, it's been limited from, you know, since the BCS era, it was 1 and 2. Then it went to the 4-team playoff. And now I think the 12 has really just opened it up wide. I mean, who would have thought Tennessee versus Ohio State, you know, would have played? I mean,
who would have thought
awesome.
SMU would have made a playoff?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
And they were given a chance.
Yeah.
I love how everyone, you know, more deserving teams are given a chance. You know, you've had people that, like Florida State last year, that was left out. People argued with that. They should have been left out. It was right to leave them out.
Yeah.
But they were deserving of being in, you know. So if under this system they would have made it in this year, they would have gotten smacked in the first week. But regardless.
Yeah. So, those are things that are going to happen now that we've said them on $1 Million Radio. All the playoff committee, they're going to listen to us. They're going to make sure that what we say goes. And going forward, you know, anything we say will come to fruition, as they say.
Yeah.
So,
who's your way too early national champion for next year?
Nico Iamaleava and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Okay.
Feels good.
I'd love to see it.
Feels good.
What about you, Griffin?
National champions, boys. Congratulations. Let's go. Let's go.
Griffin,
honestly,
who do you think's winning? Don't say Boise State post Ashton.
You know I won't, but part of me thinks, you know, it's too early to tell.
Ding, ding, ding.
Because I know there's still going to be a bunch more transfers in the spring. And then,
just say a damn team, my dude.
I'm going to roll with Skylar on this one. give me big orange.
Join the train, Jacob.
2025.
You know what, Griffin? I'm rolling with the big orange as well.
Let's go.
No, because
let's go.
Shout out Matthew Smith's dad, a buddy of mine, Weldon. He was telling me what happened in 1997 to Tennessee. We lost to Nebraska, a red and white team, 42-17.
Ooh.
Year after, what'd we do?
Undefeated, baby. Let's go.
It's right here.
1998 national champions.
It's right here. It's on the wall. It's written on the wall.
All right. Well, speaking of Tennessee, man, how much time we got left?
We got about 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and just re-up it right here, I guess. We can talk about the Volunteers basketball team and a really hard-fought game down in Auburn.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a tough loss in Auburn Saturday night, boys. It was a very, very tough environment to play in. But we covered the 6.5. We were at plus 6.5, and it was a good game the whole time, close game the whole time. I don't think anybody got up by more than 5 or 6 points. But just a terrible shooting night for both teams. We went into halftime, 20
to 22.
Yeah, 20 to 22.
Yeah, I think collectively at halftime,
it was like a high school basketball game.
It was
JV.
like combined, they were 1 of 25 from 3 in the first half.
No, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It was a defensive slugfest for sure.
Yeah, it really was. Both teams had great defense. A couple of the calls there at the end, very questionable. The traveling on Felix Okpara when he was standing still and then just fell because he was getting, or stumbled, I should say, because he was getting pulled. They called the traveling on that. And I think really at that point it was just too much. Yeah.
Vegas called in, baby.
That was the nail in the coffin, I guess you could say. But
which I will say, I like the fact that Double Z was given the last shot.
He earned it.
Yeah.
Probably could have gotten a better shot, but he was open.
Yeah.
He got us to that point.
I was questioning why we had 9 seconds left and we take a shot on the inbound
immediately.
I think we had enough time to run a play to get somebody
Chaz
open
or something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was hoping for them to call a pick and roll and get a switch on the Broom, how they'd been successful earlier in the second half.
Or maybe because Z inbounds a lot of times, maybe let him throw the inbound pass and then get the ball back off a screen or something. But there was plenty of time to make a play.
Broom is one of the weakest, best players on a number 1 team I've ever seen, dude.
That was his first game of the season, wasn't it?
No, he'd been playing. It's just his first game back from that ankle injury.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
he's on a minutes restriction. He is
apparently
weak. He's soft. He literally does a wild turnaround off the left block every time.
Yeah.
It misses. It's a brick almost every time. So bad.
Who'd you say he was comparable to?
His NBA comp is Angel Reese, who's in the WNBA. So he'll do a wild shot, turn around, miss it, get his own rebound because it's so erratic. Only he knows where it's going, and even that's a guess, and no one else will get it. He'll go back up. He'll do probably like offensive foul someone, real hard, and he'll stare him down like he's like the shit, even though he's not even better than Jabari Smith, who was there a few years ago.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, he's going to go to the NBA. He's going to be a scrub. I promise you. I promise you.
Don't hold back, Jacob. Tell him how you feel.
Wemby is going to make him his baby. He is going.
No, on God, for real.
I promise.
Daddy
I
Wemby.
promise you. I cannot wait for Wemby to post his ass up. Broom
Wemby's
is going
a
to get
freak.
Broom is going to get swept, dude. I'm telling you.
I like that.
We'll see you in March.
Yeah. We'll see him in the SEC tournament first.
Hopefully,
we'll get him there.
Should be in March. Or around
I don't care if they win it. He's a weak link.
Which can I just say shout out to the SEC for being the best league in NCAA?
For sure.
Easily, all 16 teams are good.
I think honestly, Auburn, that was a great game. Chaz found SEC rhythm. That's what we've needed.
Yeah,
he's finally getting back to a good form of being a top-notch contributor. I mean, if you would have said that we would have lost by 2 points at the number one team in the country's home, I wouldn't be mad about it. But we have a big week coming up with Florida and Kentucky.
Well, see, the thing that irks me a little bit is I know we've had these, Vanderbilt should have been a win, obviously. We shouldn't have lost to Florida on the road by 30. But people forget this UT team was number one in the country for 5-6 weeks straight? Yeah. And now it just seems like everybody in the media wants to just, they've fallen off. They're mediocre.
I'm personally not pressed about it. I don't want the pressure of a number one seed because that's when we'll crumble.
Yeah. No, I agree. So we lost Saturday to Auburn and last Saturday to Vanderbilt, which turned out to be not maybe as bad of a loss as we thought because Vanderbilt just went and beat Kentucky at home.
They're higher ranked than UConn.
Yeah, they are now.
Which, see, I will say, I feel like I can't remember what their basketball court's called, but like Nashville's a little haunted.
Yeah, it's
you don't want to be a top 10 team and go play at Vanderbilt.
It's so hard. It's so hard for any team to play there with how the whole court and arena is set up. But
Vanderbilt just beat Kentucky.
Yeah, at home, and I think that home field advantage or home court advantage for Vanderbilt is bigger than others in some ways. But they jump up to number 24 in the top 25 poll. They are 16-4 on the year, and 2 wins over Kentucky and Tennessee back-to-back weeks, back-to-back court stormings. Yeah. Because they got the storm after Kentucky too.
He was totally out with like an eighth of a second left, the Vanderbilt player. We should have gotten a tip in right there or something.
But Auburn remains undisputed number one team in the country, 18-1. Duke is still the top 5 didn't change this week. Auburn, Duke, Iowa State, Alabama at 4, Florida at 5. We get to see them at home Saturday. And Tennessee falls from 6 to 7, allowing Houston and Michigan State to move up to 6 and 7. And Tennessee ranked 8 actually, but
Houston versus Kansas. Did you see that game?
Absolute
that was a banger.
Insanity.
Yeah, I saw that game, Jacob, because it took up the whole freaking first half of the Tennessee game on ESPN. And that's another thing. Thanks for reminding me. ESPN, fix it. 2.5 hours is not enough time for one college basketball game to play out. And every time Tennessee gets the big game on ESPN, we gotta wait for like the whole first half of the first half. 10 minutes of gameplay goes by that we can't see unless we have ESPN News. Well, guess what? I don't.
And guess what? I was watching it on ESPN News, and it was like it was a weird sport I never heard of. It was like field ball. I don't know what it's called. Omega ball. I'd never heard of that.
Really?
It was playing
the game.
They kept pushing the tip off, so I was just like watching Omega ball. I was like, I guess it's cool, but
yeah. So we need to fix that. But a big game tomorrow night here at home against the Wildcats of Kentucky. Let me go see if I can find that line. I forgot to look before.
Rebound the ball.
Yeah. So Kentucky, no John Calipari. We've already beat him this year. Still keeping that trend going. But Kentucky's a pretty good team. We tend to beat them at home and then lose to them at Kentucky. It's normally how it goes. So let me see if I can find that line.
Seems like a pretty even matchup usually.
Well, didn't the Grant and Schofield year we beat them at Rupp?
Oh wow, boys. Oh wow. -8.5 are the Tennessee Volunteers expected to win.
I bet it will not be. I bet it won't cover.
Well, it might because 81% of the money and 83% of the bets are on Kentucky to cover, which means we might blow them out.
Yeah, I doubt it, but we'll see.
I may take Tennessee.
if Chaz comes out 5 for 5 on 3-point shots,
he's at home. He's at home. He plays better at home.
Yeah,
he does.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe he's one of those.
And once
players.
we get in a rhythm at home,
yeah, the crowd gets into it. It
we're undefeated
teams.
at home this year.
Yeah,
I think
11 or 12
years?
and 0.
I think we might only had one loss last year at home. Can't remember who it was, but we beat Auburn, we beat Texas. It was Kentucky. We lost Kentucky at the end of the year at home, but yeah. So -8.5. The line's not out for Saturday's matchup. at home against Florida, number 5 team in the country. They were the team that gave us the first loss, right?
Yes.
We went down there. Yeah, we were undefeated, number 1. Went down to Florida just a couple weeks ago. It hadn't been long.
Yeah, that's the game I'm scared about.
Well, I mean, I don't think there's any way that we lose by 30 points.
Yeah.
So
that won't happen again.
I don't think we lose to Florida at home.
Yeah, I think.
See, my only concern is their guards are big and very,
they're
scary.
NBA sized.
Yeah. So we'll see how it happens, but gotta take care of Kentucky business.
Don't
tomorrow
look past
night.
them.
Definitely can't do that. It is a top 10 matchup. Or no, did Kentucky
Top
fall
15.
out? Top 15. Yeah, Kentucky
for
fell
sure.
to number 12 now after their loss to Vanderbilt. They were number 9 last week. So number 8 at home versus number 12. It is a rivalry. No John Calipari anymore, but it's going to be a hard-fought game.
New cars are being sold, not used.
Yeah, brand new on the lot. We got some Ford F-150s, brand new.
Yep. No, none of these 2008, Mustangs being sold here with the striped Blazers.
Hey man, 2008 Mustangs were a good car. That's the one I had, Mustang GT.
But I'm saying that Calipari's the top to sell
Aren't
it for.
aren't they 1-5 in the SEC this year?
Who, Kentucky
Or Arkansas?
Oh, Arkansas. Well, they're not
definitely
in the top 25, so
they've fallen off a lot.
Yeah, they spent a lot of money on NIL and trying to go get players this year in the offseason, and didn't work out for them so far.
See, I don't want to say it, but that's what happens when Jonas Adu is your center.
Yeah,
He just
Yeah.
that's
He's the Jared Goff of Amari Stoudemire's.
He's one that, when we lose players in the offseason and stuff, when that happened, I was like, okay,
yeah.
I can see that. I didn't think he played physical enough.
And of course, Arparos came in and played his ass off.
That's one thing, you gotta be physical in the SEC. You just gotta be. And I think Chaz Lanier's learning that. I think some of the other players are starting to learn that. But I mean, like we've already said, even Arkansas can go out and beat anybody on any given night if they hit their shots. But top to bottom in the SEC this year is no joke. Doesn't matter who you're playing.
Literally 1
It's a
through
bloodbath.
16.
Yeah.
Any win is a great win on the road or at home. It's crazy. It's a bloodbath.
So that's what we got to look forward to. Next week's episode we'll be giving we'll give our official picks for what we think is happening in the Super Bowl. But and we'll have these 2 games to talk about. I think as we go throughout the season, you get to these different stepping stones on your schedule, and I think this part of the schedule, these next 3 or 4 games, are going to show us exactly how good of a team we got. We got a couple good teams at home. If we can take care of business at home, then we'll be in a good spot. But if we have to start winning some of these big games on the road because we're losing home games to stay at the top of the SEC, then we might be in some trouble at that point. But so any last words, boys? We got a song of the week.
What do you mean by Justin Bieber?
Ooh, that is a bob, dude. I forgot all about that.
That dude with the pan flute in the studio goes crazy.
That's that type of song that makes you want to punch the air. Just, you know what I'm saying? That Jersey Shore stuff.
Yeah, a Hollister. I feel like I walked in a Hollister when I play that song.
You got a song, Griff?
I'm gonna go with Party Rock Anthem.
Keep it going, Skyler. Keep
throw it back.
Well, I had a song in my head, but I had a song that I was gonna say, but it's not fitting this vibe. So let me.
Griffin, while you're at it,
I got it.
Next week, Griffin, bring the glasses with the plastic striped rims. You know what I mean? Like all throughout, top to bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Like you get them at Chuck E. Cheese.
I know y'all know this one.
Party City, but they're gone now.
Yeah.
Usher, DJ got us falling in love.
Bangers.
Baby tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Off the dome. I had to pull it out there.
Let's go.
That's good vibes for this to end this episode here with a couple big games coming up. So,
all right.
Well,
Let's do it.
Well, I was going to say shout out Kim Caldwell, Lady Vols head coach. She just had her baby.
Had the baby. Great job. Way to get it out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kim. Well, wait.
Hope everything.
Griffin. Wait, you said wait for who get it out?
I said way to get it out. Talking about Coach Caldwell. Like,
okay.
Glad everything went well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like whenever you go to the bathroom, it's like, hey man, everything come out all right.
Okay. Congrats. Beat.
Congratulations.
Kentucky. Beat Kentucky. Beat Florida.
And Lady Vols tonight, big matchup at home against South Carolina. So good luck to them as well.
Yep.
But
that'll do
thanks
it, boys.
for watching episode 20, $1 Million Radio. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Deuce.